Alright, part 4. Before I start this video, I do quickly want to apologize for taking so long to get this video out to you guys. I'm recording this on the same day, so my bad. I'm going to try to upload this as fast as possible, and right after this, I am going to be working on the next part. So smash the like button for that, and with that being said, let's begin. But for now, you're alive, so you can leave the village and never do this again, or I'll hunt you down. Got it? As he would walk away, picking Sasuke's body up, which was a couple of feet away, and he would take him to the hospital. On his way home, Naruto would actually be approached by Jiraiya, who would rush towards him saying, "Naruto, I have a mission. Would you want to go with me?" As Naruto would say, "What kind of mission? Also, what's the pay?" As Jiraiya would say, "Well, it's about getting your name out there, Naruto. Do you want to go?" Naruto would sigh as he would say, "Alright, old man, I'm game." From here, Jiraiya and Naruto would pack, and the very next day, or actually a couple of hours later, they would actually leave to make their way to complete this mission. And this is obviously the search for Tsunade mission. They'd make their way there, and on their way there, Jiraiya would show off to Naruto using the technique of the Rasengan to actually take out some low-level thug who was trying to mess with them about searching for the information. After Naruto saw this higher-level jutsu, Naruto would have definitely had interest in this, and I could see Jiraiya beginning to teach Naruto. Now, obviously, this Naruto was a little bit more of a prodigious nature to him, so what we're going to be having happen is making it so that Naruto is actually going to be having so much of an easier time to actually learn this jutsu, which is going to be so beneficial to Naruto. But with that being the case, Naruto on his way to the hotel, which they would actually be attacked by Itachi and Kisame, would actually dang near have the jutsu down packed, because Naruto would have learned at the same speed that Boruto would have learned in the Boruto timeline. With that being the case, Naruto would pretty much end up making his way towards a town where Naruto would say, "This old man's gonna be the death of me. Doesn't he realize that those girls just want money from him? They're like vacuum cleaners trying to suck him dry. Every last penny." But whatever, it's not like it's any of my concern. At this point, Naruto would continue his training, nearly mastering the Rasengan, mind you, as he would suddenly hear 2 knocks at the door. Naruto, hearing that, would say, "Who the heck could that be?" Naruto would make his way towards the door, and having no way to really see who's behind it, would just kind of open it, being greeted to a large man with a blue skin and a large sword, and Itachi Uchiha. Those crimson Sharingan staring back at him would remind him of Sasuke, and then it would click. That's his older brother. In a moment, Naruto would actually go on to take his scythe out and would slash at the direction of Itachi, killing him quickly, as he would then turn towards Kisame and and would actually go on to slash at him as well, but Kisame would actually be able to repel the attack with his blade, as Naruto would say, "One down, one more to go." As this would happen, Naruto and Kisame would engage in a battle, as Kisame would shoot a water bullet jutsu at Naruto, destroying the wall behind Naruto, who had barely dodged, as Kisame would come in and slash Naruto in his stomach, nearly ripping him in half as he would send him flying, and Naruto would cough out blood. Naruto at this point would turn towards Kisame as he would say, "Good, show me more," in a maniacal tone, as Kisame would smirk, and Naruto and Kisame would go at each other. At this point, Naruto would actually slash Kisame in half, as Kisame would fall down onto the ground, and Naruto would simply say, "Pathetic." It'd be at this point that Naruto would hear the ching noise of the Sharingan's Genjutsu. You guys know the one. I couldn't really create it with my mouth, but he would hear that noise of the Sharingan, and Naruto would quickly snap out of it, realizing that had just been a Genjutsu. At this point, Itachi would kick Naruto square in the stomach as hard as he possibly could, sending him crashing into one of the beds in the walls. As Naruto would fall down onto the ground, gasping for air, Naruto would look up to see Itachi Sharingan, as Naruto would get enraged at the fact that he's able to handle whatever physical torment they can dish out, but that damn Sharingan is always getting in his way. Genjutsu, it's always an issue for him. Naruto would get angrier and angrier, and because of this, Naruto would slowly stand up as Itachi and Kisame are just looking at him. Kisame walking towards Naruto saying, "What do you say I kill the brat now? We just take his corpse. You think we can draw the Jinchuriki out of him that way?" As Itachi would say, "Leave the brat alive. Remember, we were told take him in alive under any means necessary." As Kisame would say, "You're no fun, Itachi." At this point, he would get closer and closer to Naruto, who was still gasping for air. Mind you, he's immortal, but that doesn't mean he doesn't feel pain. That being said, Naruto would then be interrupted, or this situation would be interrupted by Jiraiya, who would come crashing down through the ceiling and would say, "I'm here!" He would then turn to see Naruto and say, "Look at the pitiful state they have you in. I was able to escape the snares of that woman you sent." As he would turn towards Itachi, having realized that the only reason that woman had wanted all this talk with him was because she was trapped in a Genjutsu and she was meant to be used as a distraction for Jiraiya. That being said, with Jiraiya now here, everything had been completely flipped on its head. But unfortunately for Jiraiya, his really cool entrance would quickly be ruined by Sasuke, who comes running in through the building screaming, "Itachi!" As this would be happening, Itachi would dodge the Chidori, grabbing his younger brother by the neck as he would slam him into the wall, and in 1 second flat would instantly put him in a Genjutsu, telling him, "You're still too weak." Sasuke at hearing this would think, as he would just fall unconscious, and Jiraiya, seeing this, using one of his toads, would actually latch onto Sasuke's body as he would pull him towards him using his toad tongue. It'd be at this point that Jiraiya would say, "If you guys want to fight, we'll have one." He would use his toad mouth jutsu as both of them would be trapped, and it'd be at this point that Itachi would use his Amaterasu to get out of there. They would both escape quickly using the black flames, and after this would take place, Naruto and Jiraiya would find themselves back on the road, with Sasuke having been taken back to the village and being placed in the hospital, with Jiraiya explaining that unless they get Tsunade back, her and Kakashi are going to be stuck in comas, considering the fact that Kakashi also had a little bit of a run-in with them. Naruto, hearing this, would ask Jiraiya if there's any counter to that jutsu that Itachi was using, Genjutsu. What can he do against that? Jiraiya would say that he either has to build a very powerful resistance or simply learn to fight an opponent by not looking directly into their eyes, which is extremely difficult. Jiraiya would say that even for him it's very, very hard, and he doubts he could have won that fight with both of them, considering he couldn't even look Itachi in his eyes. At this point, Naruto would nod and ask Jiraiya if there's anything else other than just building up a tolerance for Genjutsu. Jiraiya at this point would actually begin to explain that there is one thing that Naruto has that no one else does, and that is a Jinchuriki, explaining that if you become a perfect Jinchuriki, Genjutsu should be practically easy to break out of due to the fact that you have someone else who can constantly snap you out of it. Jiraiya, after explaining this, would also say that, but due to the fact that, his Jinchuriki is probably the most difficult one to tame and even hold inside of you, he would say that seems a bit impossible now. He then goes on to explain that there was someone else who had a very hard time against Uchihas back in the day. And Naruto would say, "Oh yeah? And who's that?" As Jiraiya would say, "Tobirama." Naruto, hearing this name, would say, "Are you talking about the second Hokage?" And Jiraiya would say, "That's the one, ding ding ding," as he would smile and go on to pretty much get serious before telling Naruto what had happened during the First Great Shinobi World War and how everything was in utter chaos with the Senjus and the Uchihas. Naruto, after hearing this, would then be explained a new jutsu, and it would be told to him Naruto would actually have the Bringer of Darkness jutsu introduced to him by Jiraiya, who would explain to Naruto that if he wants to counter something like that, this is what Tobirama used, but it's an incredibly difficult jutsu, and seeing as he's already trying to master an S-rank jutsu, he doesn't think it's a good time for him to teach him that. Naruto would say, "Wait, we can put the Rasengan training at home, I would much rather learn this." Jiraiya from here would go on to say that he knows the gist of it, but Naruto's gonna have to work through most of it on his own, saying that Jiraiya, he did want to learn it, but eventually it was just too annoying and he decided to work on something else. That being said, Naruto and Jiraiya would eventually stumble into the exact bar that Lady Tsunade would be at, and once they would arrive, Jiraiya would smile, telling the bartender to bring him around. At this point, the bartender would bring two, which would actually shock Jiraiya, and Naruto, looking towards it, would say, "Guess I'm gonna try my first drink," as Jiraiya would say, "No you don't," and he would go on to tell him that the kid's clearly not 21. The man looking at him would say, "My apologies, sir," as Naruto would actually be kind of shocked that someone had even thought that he was that old, but Naruto looking at himself and realizing that, yeah, he had gotten very tall. Naruto at this point was already as tall as the Shippuden half of himself, and with that look that he has going on, I'm not really shocked that people think he's that old. That being said, Naruto still doesn't have the cool little tattoos on the neck of the character that I have for the thumbnail, but other than that, Naruto looks pretty sick. That being said, After this would happen, Naruto and Jiraiya would finally have a conversation with Tsunade, and judging by the fact that this is not something I'm too interested in, we're just going to be completely glazing over this. I can easily see Naruto eventually, after Tsunade would reject Jiraiya and say that the Hokage position is useless, Naruto would just flat out say, Jiraiya, why are we here getting this lame woman who has pretty much lost any reason to live? It's clear she doesn't want to do anything but gamble and live like a loser. As Tsunade, hearing that, would say, well, just say brat, as she would shatter her glass in her hand, and she would say, you better teach your kid some manners, Jiraiya. As it would be at this point that Jiraiya would say, Naruto, please, calm down, don't say that. Naruto would say, nah, this lady's literally wasting her life away and she has the gall to talk about the Hokage. None of those men might have been perfect, but they sure as hell were a lot better than her. As Tsunade would smash the table and would go on to ask the kid to take it outside, as he would look at her and say, I'll gladly do that. It'd be at this point that they would both stand outside and Jiraiya would say, well, how about this, Tsunade? You want to fight the kid for disrespecting you, that's fine, but at the end of the day, you have to acknowledge it's a kid. How's about this? Here, how about a little wager? If the kid can manage to land even a single blow on you, you have to come to the village and become Hokage. And if he doesn't, well, he'll pay off all your debts. It'd be at this point that Tsunade would say, what, seriously? And Naruto would say, what, you can't expect me to do that? You know, clearly faking it, knowing that Jiraiya is doing something. As Jiraiya would say, yup, I promise. It'd be at this point that Naruto would nod and say, fine. As Tsunade would say, well, looks like I finally am gonna win something. She would rush in towards the direction of Naruto, who would quickly dodge out of the way, gaining a little bit of space, as Naruto would weave hand signs for the bringer of darkness jutsu. It'd be at this point that Tsunade would be blinded just long enough for Naruto to form the Rasengan in one hand. He's not doing it with a shadow clone, Naruto straight up does it the proper way. He rushes at Tsunade so fast that she couldn't even register it, because obviously, she's blind, and then he would smash the Rasengan into her stomach, sending her crashing into a brick wall, which she would go flying through. Tsunade, feeling that blow, would get insanely triggered, and she would smash out of it as her eyes would turn red, like on some anime funny moment type stuff, and she would just rush at Naruto before then just punching this man square in the stomach, causing Naruto's guts and blood to just go flying out of his mouth, as Naruto would just spit it all out and he would go crashing onto the floor, with Tsunade saying, oh, I'm sorry. She would quickly apologize, realizing that she practically could have just killed that kid. She would go over towards Naruto, who would pick himself up laughing, and with all the blood coming down his mouth, he would say, good one, lady. Guess you're not as weak as I thought. As Tsunade, realizing that Naruto's standing up after a practical death blow, would be absolutely stunned, asking who the heck this kid is, as Jiraiya would say, that's Naruto Uzumaki, my new student. As Tsunade would say, well, you got a heck of a student on your hands, she would go over towards Naruto and use a bit of healing jutsu on him, as she would say, I'll return to the village. As it'd be at this point that she would go on to explain to Jiraiya, however, that there is one loose end. Orochimaru came to contact her, and because this time around she lost the bet before leaving, not like in the original how Naruto attempted to use the Rasengan on her and wasn't able to, and she gave him an extra week. In this timeline, things are going to be a little bit different, because she's going to flat out come out and say the truth. Hey, Orochimaru came to me and this is the plan. Let's take him out tomorrow. Jiraiya and Tsunade, both, aware of the fact that this dude was responsible for the death of their sensei, would both nod at each other and would agree to a plan to taking Orochimaru out tomorrow. The next day, Orochimaru would be encountered by Tsunade, Jiraiya, and Naruto. And unlike in the original where Orochimaru was easily able to, take out Jiraiya and Tsunade, in this specific timeline of events, we're actually going to be having Naruto face off against Kabuto, and this battle is going to be a really, really interesting one, because they could easily see Kabuto catching Naruto off guard using his scalpel jutsu and just pretty much scrambling Naruto's senses. But Naruto would straight up just not care. The dude would proceed to stab his own scythe into those nerves and just cut them. I was about to say Hidan, but no. Kabuto at this moment would say, you're insane, as Naruto would say, am I? He would lick his own blood at this moment, as Kabuto, turning towards Naruto, would see him weaving hand signs with one hand, as he would say, bringer of darkness jutsu. And at that moment, Kabuto would be completely engulfed in darkness. He wouldn't be able to see a thing as Naruto would slash Kabuto's arm off, clean off, with Kabuto falling onto the ground and holding his arm up, trying to stop the bleeding. It'd be at this point that Orochimaru, realizing that Kabuto is about to die and that he's gonna have to face off against Naruto, who is very competent this time around, Jiraiya and Tsunade with no arms. This dude's not an idiot. He proceeds to reverse summon himself out of there and say, "Till we meet again," as he would leave and Naruto and the rest of them would return to the village, where once they get there, Tsunade would quickly go on to heal Kakashi and Sasuke, and just like in the original, we would get the hospital fight. Sasuke waking up after his coma would be extremely pissed off at everything. He's angry at how weak he is. He's angry at the fact that Naruto's so much stronger than him. He's angry at the fact that he's stagnating here at this village and that his brother thinks that he's truly that weak. Sasuke just can't feel good at this moment, and he hates everything about that. And wouldn't you know it, Naruto would actually walk into the room to check up on Sasuke, who supposedly should have woken up today. As Naruto would enter the room, he would ask Sasuke how he's doing, as Sasuke would say, "I'm doing fine, Naruto." Naruto would go on to pretty much explain that he got quite the beating by his brother back there, as Sasuke would look at him and say, "Shut the heck up, Naruto. What would you know about that?" As Naruto and Sasuke would both they just start exchanging words, you know what I mean? And this eventually would lead to a conflict where both of them make their way onto the roof, with Sasuke saying he's gonna wipe that smug smile off his face. And so, Sasuke would get into a fight with Naruto, in which, unlike in the original, where Sasuke would pretty much wipe the floor with Naruto, without the Rasengan and Chidori clash, he was doing better than Naruto during that fight. In this specific timeline, not only is Sasuke not winning just the taijutsu exchange, but when it comes to the Rasengan and Chidori clash, Naruto absolutely would just decimate Sasuke. This man proceeds to create a Rasengan, and right as they're about to clash, Kakashi would stop it just like in the original. Sasuke seeing this and realizing that not only is his jutsu stronger than me, but he's just stronger than me, point blank period, he just loses himself to the anger, to the jealousy, to the hatred, and this would easily be a perfect concoction for Sasuke to just give in to the dark side. Literally, he would end up joining the Sound 4, and he would make his way towards Orochimaru's base, having the curse mark seal 2 placed on him, as he gets placed into the box like I'd already said. After this would happen, the entire Rookie 9 team would be sent toward to get Sasuke, and we would have Shikamaru being the leader just like in the original. Now remember, the first problem that they end up running into when they're faced off to find Sasuke would be this gigantic sand or earth dome that would just suck their chakra and just sap everything out of them. In this specific timeline, they still break out just like they do in the original, and Choji goes on to fight against Jirobo, Neji goes on to fight against Spider Guy, Shikamaru fights against Tayuya, and Kiba would fight off against Sakon and Yakon. Naruto in this moment would rush off towards Sasuke, with each of them pretty much sacrificing themselves to bring Sasuke back, and Naruto's just confused. He's like, why? Sasuke's annoying. He brought this upon himself, and now he has to go retrieve him. Naruto's just irritated, and all he wants to do is complete the mission. It's not like Naruto has some sort of grandiose connection to Sasuke, or he's his best friend or something like that. Naruto would just think to himself that Sasuke's just a spoiled brat, and he doesn't care whether he lives or dies, frankly. That being the case, Naruto would eventually find himself face to face with Kimimaro, as Naruto would say, "Get out of the way or die." And Kimimaro in this moment would simply, get into a fighting stance, as Naruto would say, "Die it is." He would rush in towards Kimimaro as he would swing his scythe towards him just to land the finishing blow instantly, but Kimimaru's bones would shoot out of his body as they would create a shield to actually protect him and not let the scythe be ripped out. So not only did Naruto get blocked, but the scythe is actually stuck on those bones, and Naruto couldn't even pull it out. After this, Kimimaro would kick Naruto away, as Naruto would say, "So you got a bone kicking, Genkai." haven't seen that one before, as Naruto would rush in, weaving hand signs for a couple of wind-style jutsus, as Kimimaro would dodge them easily, rushing in to engage Naruto in a taijutsu battle, as Naruto would think all he has to do is draw a little bit of blood out from him, and this is the perfect way. Naruto in this moment would start to, pretty much cause Kimimaro to get caught off guard, as Naruto would quickly use the bringer of darkness dojutsu, why do I keep saying that? Jutsu on him, as Kimimaro would be blinded just long enough for Naruto to go in and do a small little cut which would draw some blood out. Naruto at this point would, get his distance, as Kimimaro would ask why he didn't land a finishing blow then and there, as Naruto would say, this is why. Licking the blade, as Naruto licking his kunai would just smirk, and Kimimaro would feel the effects instantly. The paralyzation would take over his body, as Naruto would walk slowly towards him, grabbing his scythe and ask, any last words? Kimimaru's mouth can't even move, mind you, as Naruto would say, right, you can't move, as he would then go on to slash at the direction of Kimimaro, but one thing would actually shock him. Kimimaru's entire body would actually react weirdly to this, and his body would go into his curse mark state, as bones would shoot out to protect Kimimaru, who can't even move at this point, and he's doing his best to break free of it. At this point, Naruto would be stunned that he was even capable of doing that, and the reason for this would be his bone kicking Genkai. As this happens, and as Naruto realizes that that was going to be a bit annoying, Lee would arrive to the scene, and Naruto turning towards him would say, hey, you think you can finish him off? I have him paralyzed already, so it should be easy pickings. But his bones are still protecting him, so don't let your guard down. Lee hearing this would say, right Naruto, go capture Sasuke, I'll take care of things here. As Naruto would nod and say, Gaara, make sure to protect him. As Lee would say, Gaara? And Naruto would turn towards the direction of where Gaara's at, and he would nod, with Gaara nodding as well, as Naruto would go off in search of Sasuke.